Hey, my friends. I want to talk about calorie conservation during SHTF. Not a very fun topic at all, but this does have a lot of merit to know how to deal with this because this happens to people from time to time. There's lots of different varieties of situations that you could be in that could cause you to not have enough food. You may be isolated from other people. It could be that you're injured. It could be that you're just lost somewhere and you cannot find your way out. And you have very limited supplies. Or maybe you have no supplies and you're trying to forage and you're trying to deal with little to no calories. And so what should you do? First, I would say is to start to perform only essential tasks. Just remember, less movement and more rest equates to less used calories. The next thing I would ponder on is to lower your stress levels. Don't sit there and repeat over and over in your head that you're lost, you're in a survival situation. It could get a lot worse. You don't want to think about that. You're already aware of that enough. I guarantee you are. You're not going to forget that you're in a survival situation. So more stress really does equate to less effective conservation of your calories. If you think about it, the more upset you get, the more you burn, energy, because it takes energy to get upset. So think about all the ways that have helped you in the past to calm down and to clear your mind. I'll give you some things that help me, and maybe this will help you as well. I like to do 3 deep breaths, but I do it really slowly. So I start to inhale and count to 5. Now, everybody has different capabilities. Maybe you have very weak lungs and you can only count to 2. Maybe you're someone that is a professional diver and you can count to 20 on your intake, whatever. So for me, I do like between 5 or 6 seconds, and then I'll hold for 4 to 5 seconds and slowly let out the breath for 4 to 5 seconds more. And I do that like 3 times, and it can really bring your heart rate down. It can clear your mind. It can just kind of settles me is what it does. Also, you can distract yourself. You can get out a book. You could, if you're in a survival situation, you can start to take an inventory of your supplies that you do have. You can start to think about all the things that you are in control of instead of all the things you're not in control of. And I'm pretty sure at this point you kind of see what I'm talking about. I wouldn't do anything strenuous. I wouldn't go for a jog or a walk. Yes, that can burn off some stress for sure, because I know I use that from time to time. I go out and burn a little energy. But in this situation, you want to conserve energy, so you got to do things more mentally to bring you down. You don't want to go out there and do a big workout when there's no food to replenish you. Next is to be very mindful of injuries. So injury prevention is a very high priority. So stay healthy and uninjured to maximize calorie intake. So if you do have some food, you can maximize. If you don't have any food at all, that food that you have, the calories stored in your fat will be a lot more efficient if you're not injured. So take your time when you perform tasks. Very important. Don't rush through anything. Think through everything. Even if you need to take 5-10 minutes before you do something, even if you need to take 20 minutes, do it. Don't just assume that you're, perfect and everything is going to be just fine in that task. You could slip up and cut yourself really bad or, break a leg, God forbid. So take your time. When you're injured, you burn a lot of calories because you're a lot more stressed once again. Now, next, this is very important. And this does kind of vary from person to person, depending on your makeup. Everybody has different body makeup, right? Some people are really small. Some people are much larger. People are short. Some people are tall, and so forth. But this is just generally speaking. This is about as general as I can be. From the data out there, when it's possible to consume food, try to consume a minimum of 1,200 calories per day if you're a female. And if you're a man, somewhere between 1,500 to 1,900 calories a day. And this is to avoid metabolic disruption. So you don't really want to start to get into that point. Because if you don't have at least enough to kind of break even at the end of the day when it comes to calories, then your body will start to turn on itself and start to cannibalize muscles and organs and things like that. And you don't want that at all. Now, your specific minimum calorie needs are really based on a variety of factors. So you may need a lot more if you're a really big guy, or you may not need that much if you're really small. So those numbers, once again, are very generalized. But specific minimum calorie needs are based on activity level, age, weight, and height, stress level, and overall health. And there's probably other things as well. Those are just the things that I thought of. And so not eating enough can lead to a breakdown of the body. And like I just said, you start to cannibalize muscles and organs. So incorporate a daily schedule with a routine to help manage stress, including, if you have food, a feeding schedule. So this will keep you from getting tempted to have snacks when you don't have the resources to have snacks, especially if you're trying to stretch out a food supply. And just remember, though, that this daily schedule, this routine, helps to manage stress, and mental health is an important aspect in survival. I mean, just as important as any other category of physical health. Next, maintain core body temperature. The less your body has to generate core heat, the more calorie efficient you are. Maintaining a campfire, or let's just say staying wrapped in a blanket or in a sleeping bag, may very well extend your calorie resources until you can self-rescue or be rescued. The next point here is to banish fear. And we talked about earlier, you may get some relief by taking your mind off of whatever it is that you're thinking of that is causing you stress or fear. Deep breathing, once again, helps. So keep your mind occupied. Avoid negative fantasizing. Look at your plans and review all options for survival, and think about those things that you have control over, not, once again, those things that control you. The next thing you consider is to prioritize all food resources. Know all possible food resources within your control, within your environment. And it may be better to actually write this down, because over time, mentally you may deteriorate, and not just having it in your head, but on paper, and you can see every possible food option you have. So if you get desperate enough, you may have to eat things that you don't want to eat. The next thing is to avoid thinking about food. Now, this is hard. You know how it is when you try to avoid thinking about something, you typically think about it. So you're not going to be purposely trying to avoid in that sense. You're just not going to set yourself up for failure. You're not going to set yourself up to start thinking about your favorite food and then sit there and daydream about it for 20 minutes. And why? Well, it's because your saliva, is produced when you start to think about, anticipate food. And over time, all this saliva, which is full of enzymes to help break down food, because the body thinks it's ready to have a meal. So your stomach can get filled up with saliva, enzymes, and for some people in different situations, you can get an upset stomach. you can definitely get an upset stomach. And also sometimes your body will start to release various stomach acids. You can get ulcers. It's just not good to do this. Also be aware that you want to stay hydrated. You want to make sure you have enough water, but don't overdo it because you can flush a lot of your minerals and good stuff out. So that's why if you look at high endurance sports, they have to replace their electrolytes and minerals if they're doing a lot of drinking, because you can get yourself in a very big pickle very quick. You can dehydrate yourself very quickly just by actually drinking too much water if you don't have the salts and electrolytes and minerals. Be aware of that. The next thing to consider and think about is picking the right tools for the job. Let's say that you do need to do some type of activity that's going to help ensure your survival, or it's going to add to the whole potential of you getting through the situation. It's very good to know what things are more efficient than others within your tools that you have available. Let's say that you're out camping, you got lost, and you have an axe and a hatchet and a saw. Do you know which one is more efficient? You should. It's the saw. And some people know this, but a lot of people that I've talked to over the years had no clue. They thought it was the axe. They thought that the big, heavy axe would do more with the energy, but it's not at all. The saw, especially the bow saw, is one of the most efficient ways to cut wood. And lastly, I just want to talk about that it comes down to using less or saving calories or getting more calories. So once again, you're just going to use less calories or save calories, or you're going to want to get more calories. Those are your only options when it comes to planning out your routine and your priorities, which play a large role in calorie management. And that's what this is all about, calorie management, calorie conservation during SHTF. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, or in this case, this is a podcast. Thanks for listening. Catch you later.